This is the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation in Freetown. Good evening and a warm welcome to News Hour. My name is Mahawa Aliyu and thank you very much for joining us. Coming up in this evening's edition of the news, consultant neurologist Professor Radcliffe Lakes says over 60,000 people are living with epilepsy. 29 anesthetist nurses complete 18 months diploma course in anesthesia. National HIV/AIDS Secretariat Director General reveals that 1.5% of the country's population is HIV positive and not 1.5 million as being circulated on the social media. While all these stories and more, including business and sport news, lined up in this evening's edition of News Hour. Stay with us. Welcome back for our first story tonight. More than 60,000 people are living with epilepsy in Sierra Leone. This is according to Professor Radcliffe Lakes, a consultant neurologist of the Epilepsy Association of Sierra Leone. He made these statements during a two-day training on how to treat epilepsy in the country, while Maria Masuma was there, and she now reports.
Epilepsy is a chronic disorder that is characterized by unprovoked seizures. In Sierra Leone, according to experts, epilepsy is on the increase. Most times, epilepsy is attributed to witchcraft. It is clear that most people living with the disease are facing serious forms of discrimination and are mostly abandoned during attack. At the Congo market, some women still have the belief that epilepsy is a demonic disease, an abandoned patient that is attacked by the disease.
I believe that epilepsy is a transferable disease. When it attacks someone, the person will fall down with saliva. I have seen where it has attacked a person and I ran away because people say it's demonic. I am a fishmonger at Congo markets. I have heard about epilepsy, and when somebody is attacked by the disease, the person will fall down and will start to ooze saliva, which one must not step on it. As for me, I normally run away because I believe it's demonic.
Country Coordinator, Epilepsy Association in Sierra Leone, Max Bangura, said that traditional beliefs about epilepsy are false and negatively affect patients. He frowns at the involvement of traditional healers in the treatment of the disease. Some of the patients explained their ordeals.
I've been there 14 years. So they meditate me, Since I was 14, I started experiencing this disease. I traveled to so many places to different herbalists because my parents believed it was traditional. They gave me kerosene to drink and removed all my hair on my head, which affected me seriously. So I'm appealing to parents to take their children to the hospital.
I would like to tell in the age of 13 years.
Since I was 13, I started experiencing epilepsy, and what I have gone through in the hands of herbalists is too much. They have given me snakes to eat and even asked me to sleep around graves, all in the name of curing the disease. But I thank God for my improvement since I started taking my treatment from the hospital.
Only this makes no money help me. So the more demanding, the more they talk.
Consultant neurologist Radcliffe Lisk from the Epilepsy Association of Sierra Leone said most people living with epilepsy refuse to go for treatment in the hospital due to traditional beliefs. He said the objective of the workshop is to improve the knowledge and quality of service delivery of caregivers in the management of epilepsy.
Well, epilepsy, as you know, is an illness that, from a traditional point of view, people believe that it's due to witchcraft, it's due to demons. Therefore, people who have epilepsy tend not to go to hospital because they do not feel that it's a medical illness. And of course, the epilepsy that everybody knows is when somebody is attacked, they fall to the floor and they start shaking, and they might wet themselves and they become unconscious for periods maybe up to 10-15 minutes and then gradually come out.
Discrimination of patients results to broken marriages, non-completion of schools, drowning, and most times sustained severe burns. SLBC TV, Maria Masuma reporting.
Now 29 anesthetic nurses have graduated after completing an 18-month diploma course in anesthesia at the Princess Christian Maternity Hospital, PCMH. The training, which was supported by the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, was aimed at meeting the high demand of anesthetic to strengthen and improve health service delivery in the country. Doreen Barry has details.
Of anesthetist nurses within the health system. An 18-month diploma course was designed by the Health Ministry to close the gap for anesthetic nurses. Anesthesia is a medical discipline which involves the administration of drugs for the abolition of pain, relieve stress and muscle relaxation, whilst minimizing unwanted side effects. However, the 10 batches of trained anesthetist nurses is expected to reduce workload from the few staff on different health facilities in the country. Project coordinator Dr. Michael Koma said that due to the high demand of anesthetists, the Health Ministry initiated a specialized training course to address acute shortage of personnel. He said that having a trained anesthetist will enable the health sector deal with complex operations in hospitals across the country. He said that the graduates are expected to improve access to emergency obstetric and neonatal care, reproductive health, and obstetric fistulas. He cited a shortage of essential anesthetic drugs, lack of suitable accommodation for staff, unpublished scheme, and the delay of promotion is key challenges facing the health sector. Chief Nursing and Midwifery, Mrs. Usanatu Kroma, emphasized the need to communicate with patients, which is the basic procedures of nursing. Director of Hospitals and Ambulance Services, Dr. Victor Matlebi, said the training is a stepping stone by the ministry to provide effective care and health services to people. He said amidst the challenges on the minimum drugs and equipment for anesthesia, yet there are centers to provide appropriate surgical and anesthetist personnel.
Well, now the Director General of the National HIV/AIDS Secretariat, Dr. Momodu Sise, has described a report circulating on social media that 1.5 million people are living with HIV as distorted and false information meant to undermine the gains made in the fight against HIV and AIDS in the country. He made these statements during a press conference to respond to fake news circulating on the social media here in Freetown, where Joseph Ture was there. And he now reports.
True, and that neither the Ministry of Health and Sanitation nor the Secretariat has at any time released or provided such a figure to that magnitude to any media house. According to the last demographic and health survey conducted in 2013 by Statistics in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and its international partners, the national HIV prevalence rate is 1.5%. This is a population-based study conducted every 5 years.
According to the UNAIDS projected estimate derived by modeling, it is estimated that 61,000 people are living with HIV in Sierra Leone. Not all of these have been practically tested and found positive. Currently, there are 26,000 people receiving antiretroviral therapy in Sierra Leone.
He added that plans are being put in place to conduct a new demographic survey this year in which HIV will be included, and after that any new data on HIV/AIDS prevalence will be released by the Secretariat.
Although the Secretariat is not complacent with the results as it stands, it is however not in the interest of anyone to give false, unfounded, distorting and alarming figures about the epidemic in the country. This will only create unnecessary panic among the population, making it even more challenging to coordinate the response.
He encouraged Sierra Leoneans that wishes to publish any information regarding the national prevalence of HIV to source the information from credible sources published on the Secretariat's website or the Sierra Leone Demographic Survey Report 2013. Dr. Sise assured of the Secretariat and its partners' commitment towards the fight against the HIV epidemic. An interactive session formed a part of the ceremony.
Joseph Stanley reporting there. In less than 3 months, the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists Large has lost more than 4 of its members. The latest is Reverend Matthew Quartey of Radio Democracy 98.1. Prior to his demise were journalist Ibrahim Samora and Asuri Sudan Sise. The late Reverend Matthew Quartey carved a niche in the field of journalism through his interest in court reporting, for which he was admired by colleagues, the public, and even the legal practitioners. The late Reverend Matthew Quartey was born in the early 50s in Freetown to a Ghanaian father. He started his early education in Ghana and later in Freetown. Well, on more on his life story, let's join our own Rose Konima Stevens.
Matthew Ibrahim Quartey is amongst 5 renowned media practitioners of recent time that has passed away. His death came as a surprise to many in the media. Matthew Quartey was seen active during the 2018 annual general meeting of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists in July. Mr. Quartey started his journalism career as a proofreader at the Daily Mail newspaper in 1988 and was later promoted to a reporter. He later joined Radio Democracy, where he served as a reporter and was attached to the courts. The late man carved a niche in court reporting to those whom he had worked with, especially the Radio Democracy family, where he spent 18 years of his life. Matthew was seen to be a fatherly figure. The age gap between him and his colleagues did not stop him from being jovial with the younger folks. To the dedicated listeners of Radio Democracy, Matthew Quartey's voice was almost like an authoritative voice on court reporting.
Justice Komba Kamanda don't sentence one 26-year-old man, Aruna Morekwi, for go jail for 10 years because he been found am guilty say he been do mommy and daddy business with one 80-year-old girl Pekin.
His humility, according to many, was the hallmark of his character. Today, he is no more. Few months ago, he was seen to be hale and hearty, especially when he was opportuned to witness this year's SLAG annual general meeting in Kenema. He was amongst the newest members to be admitted into the association in 2018. Wani Gauja, a colleague of Matthew at Radio Democracy, said she had fond memories of the late man.
So I appreciate Reverend for that, and I'm going to meet him. Reverend was a friendly person. Reverend was fun to be around with, because whenever Reverend comes around, you know, it's not been long since I started working here, and for all the times I've known Reverend for, he was a respective person, and irrespective of the age, Reverend respected each and every individual.
Michael Sambola and Alex Lawrence Koma were impressed with Matthew Quartey's diligence and dedication to his job.
Matthew Quartey has been working for Radio Democracy for about 18 years, and just this year we celebrated his retirement. We did a lot of stuff. We ate together, we cheer him up, we celebrated him. Come back in the afternoon, write his news. And come back, Papa Alex have written 2 news, 2 court stories, and have prepared my report. This one is very interesting. Of course, it has to do with XYZ magistrate, and I'm sure you're going to use this one as a headline story, or it's very important for you to use. I'm sure you're going to use this one. Reverend will wait here until 9 p.m. for waiting the bee, until he listens to his story. I will say, Reverend, what are you waiting for? Go home, tune your radio, you will listen to your story. So no, I'll wait. After the program, I'll go.
President of Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, SLAG, Kelvin Lewis, said Matthew was not just an exemplary character, but one of the happiest men in becoming a SLAG member.
Reverend, he said prayers when we opened the book of condolence for Sabura long ago. And I jokingly said to him that you're going to become the chaplain of SLAG. And he walked into that role without any grumble, without any misgivings, any negativity. He just quietly went into the role. During the SLAG AGM, he said prayers. When we came back to Freetown, and we had to open a book of condolence for Iosfore. Last Tuesday, this was last Tuesday, he was the one who said prayers there.
Kelvin Lewis therefore noted that people generally should do regular medical checkups to avoid sudden attacks, especially as the profession itself is full of stress.
As far as the profession is concerned, except Samura, who inadvertently died in the line of duty, all the others, S.U. Tronka, it was 2 vehicular accidents. Frank Posoa was 2 vehicular accidents. Pius was a medical condition. Reverend too was a medical condition. I understand it was an attack, I'm too sure about that, no? But they are all medical conditions. I would only ask everybody, not only journalists, to try and check your health as often as you can.
Matthew Ibrahim Baba Quartey was born to a Ghanaian father and a Sierra Leonean mother in the early 50s and was married with some children. The late court reporter will be missed for his accurate court reportage and will be remembered by the media fraternity in the country.
Many thanks there indeed to Ruth Konima Stevens. Now, government has said that come September 2018, the Free Education Initiative will be implemented. The free education package will include school fees, core textbooks, and the feeding for government and government-assisted school children. But how prepared is government, teachers, and parents to implement the Free Education Initiative? Daphne Kimamakoli takes a look.
During the state opening of Parliament, President Julius Maada Bio officially announced government's commitment to providing free education for primary to secondary school.
The primary objective of the new direction is to increase access to quality pre-primary, primary, secondary school, technical and vocational education and training, as well as university education that will enable them to engage in meaningful, productive economic activity.
Before the state opening of Parliament, the Sierra People's Party used the Free Education Initiative to campaign. It has been said by many Sierra Leoneans that the Free Education Initiative was one of the reasons why many Sierra Leoneans voted for the SLPP. In less than 2 months, a new academic year will start. How prepared is the ministry for the implementation of the free education in September? Brahma Michael Toure is the Public Relations Officer of the Ministry of Education. He said the Free Education Initiative is new but definitely would be implemented. The Public Relations Officer said the ministry has visited the regions to sensitize people on the implementation of the initiative. He said an assessment is being done to know the number of schools, children, teachers and assets owned by the ministry. Mr. Toure said this will help in knowing how many more teachers to employ and learning materials needed.
Total number of kids that we have at present, total number of teaching and learning materials available, if any, total number of teachers, both approved and unapproved. And so just capturing all of these things so that he would have a clear understanding of what would have to be catered for in this free education. So that is the preparation that has taken place behind the scenes, and we are far ahead of that. And the free education is going to be launched on the 20th of August by the President.
Senior Assistant Secretary, Sierra Leone Teachers Union, Augustine Karim, highlighted some of the things teachers will need to effectively run the free education initiative come September. He said teachers are always prepared to teach and work with the Education Ministry to implement the initiative if some of their demands are met.
And when you look at the current conditions of teachers, which have lasted for very long time in this country, the immediate things that the government has to do to ensure that the free education takes off successfully is to really pay some attention to the conditions of service of teachers, including their salaries.
President's Primary School is one of the government-assisted schools that would benefit from the free education initiative. Esther Kago is the headmistress of the school. She said the free education is a good initiative, but a lot has to be done, of which construction of more classrooms is needed. To properly implement the free education initiative, some parents say the ministry and other authorities concerned should properly monitor the implementation. Mary Suma is a parent who has 4 school-going children. She said government should make sure the teachers stop asking for extra charges in school.
Free education. I
have mixed feelings because even if the free education is implemented, we will still be paying school fees because of the amount of money we spend on our children for extra charges.
The Public Relations Officer, Brahma Michael Toure, said the Education Ministry has engaged local authorities to monitor and also called on the media and civil society organizations to aid in monitoring the implementation. For SLBC News, Daphne Kimamakoli reporting.
Now, the Small Arms Commission has trained military officers from different battalions in the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces on the safety and protection of armories. The training, which was supported by the Chairman Federation Foreign Office and the Mines Advisory Group, capacitated military officers on how to manage and stock take of ammunition. Well, Doreen Barry has details.
Managing and keeping weapons from the wrong hands is one of the challenges facing many militaries in the world today. Weapons have landed in wrong hands who normally use them against unarmed civilians. The training is an effort to have a proper handling of weapons and ammunition to ensure they are kept in armories in order for them not to land on the wrong hands. Commander Joint Force Sule Ibrahim Sise described the training as a laudable venture in the drive to have arms kept in armories. He said the military personnel went through 3 weeks training on how to manage, take stock and monitor the use of weapons. He said that the skills and knowledge gained by the military personnel is coming at a time when they are committed to having a proper system on how weapons should be kept and handled. He commended the Small Arms Commission and its partners for capacitating the military. Commander retired Technical Field Manager from the Mines Advisory Group told his audience that the 3 weeks training was intensive and was a climax with an examination to test participant knowledge on the topics they were taught. He expressed assurance that the trained personnel are now in a better footing to protect and control weapons. A representative from the Small Arms Commission, Lieutenant Colonel Mbadi Sogo Bangura, said that the Commission has over the years supported the reconstruction of armories and the training of military personnel on how weapons should be handled and managed. He said that the training is part of the Commission's mandate to ensure an effective record system of how weapons are used, which was a challenge over the past years.
While you're watching news on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation here in Freetown, we continue with more stories making news tonight. 2 young Sierra Leonean students have become the first to make the first ever solar-powered tricycle in the country. The two innovators used tricycle materials such as scrap metals and cables to build the unit, which is aimed at reducing the hassle of especially disabled persons as means of transport. Soriba Samura has more.
This is just one of the latest innovations just by 2 students, young Sierra Leoneans, who have innovated and invented this tricycle, commonly called keke.
The latest innovation in Sierra Leone is a solar tricycle made by 2 students, Emmanuel and Andrew. It is a single-seater meant to facilitate movement of disabled persons within the city. The unit moves via a single chain connected to a 24-volt motor, reeling around 2 small ratcheted wheels, causing the whole unit to move. This tricycle has a seat belt, making it unique when compared to tricycles that have flooded the city. The 2 innovators, while in their workshop, explained to SLBC that through the effort of Kite Sierra Leone, they were able to get all 3 wheels free of charge from this organization.
One day, I was passing by in the capital city of Freetown. I see so many people with physical challenges going so many constraints. Some have their children behind, helping them to push forward for them to have their survival. When I research, some of them don't educate their children just because for them to have their daily bread. Others don't have children. They use their bare hands to pedal the sleds to move in a specific direction. So this thing come in my mind. I say, how can I help these people out?
The students made use of the scrap metals and cables acquired from spare parts dealers in the east end of Freetown to assemble the tricycle. Andrew recalls on his childhood life.
In that little form, which was not identified by then. It was until when I was in the high school, we used to attend some innovative competitions, and afterwards I started to benefit out of it. Then By then, I finally accepted innovation to be part of my life.
Emmanuel is the lead innovator. His mother, Melrose Kamara, expressed delight at hearing that her son has become the latest engineer in Sierra Leone.
I look forward to seeing Emmanuel make a better tricycle which I can use in my business as a means of transport.
But when the solar there, you go able to move the keke with me business and with me partner there.
She recalled when somebody told her about his son's handwork, saying she is hopeful that someday her son could make a tricycle to help not only persons with disability, but one which could ferry her to and from the market. As the student engineers were going all out for the materials they wanted to have the solar tricycle up, Emmanuel and Andrew met Alusain Cargo at Rokupa Junction, from whom they bought the additional bearings. He explained to SLBC that he was amazed to know that the two young men were up to something of national pride and interest. Ibrahim Sidibe also sells metal spears at Brimalane. He said he had no idea as to what these two young men were going to use the bearings they bought from his shop. The solar tricycle was publicly displayed during a talent show organized by the Flaming Bible Church in Freetown. Soriba Samura, SLBC News, Freetown.
Now, Aureol Insurance Company recorded an increase of 7.72% of gross written premium for the period 1st January 2017 to 31st December 2017. The gross written premium for the year ending was 27.96 billion yuans as compared to 25.92 billion yuans for the corresponding period to the 31st December 2016. This was said by the chairperson of the Board of Directors, Yasim Fofana, at the 31st Annual General Meeting held at the Atlantic Hall of the National Stadium here in Freetown. Well, Hawana Tokonte filed this report read in our studios by Francis Bernard.
The economic uncertainties and volatile environment, Aureol Insurance continues to deliver strong performance in the insurance industry. According to its annual report, the company recorded a profit before tax of 3.92 billion yuans as compared to 4.07 billion yuans in 2016. Claims paid during the period under review amounted to 9.23 billion yuans as compared to 8.06 billion yuans for the corresponding period to 31st December 2016, an increase of 14.51%. Expense ratio for 12 months to 31st December 2017 was 47.30% as compared to 46.25% for the corresponding period to 31st December 2016. The chairperson of the Board of Directors, Yasmin Fofana, mentioned the slow economic growth of 4.3% in 2017 from 6.3% in 2016, due largely to weak recovery in mineral production. She said in spite of the difficult operating environment and after careful consideration of the results of operations, the board have recommended a premium of 0.60% per share to all shareholders as at 31st December 2017. Mrs. Fofana informed shareholders that as a company, Aureol Insurance provides a conducive working environment for members of staff to pursue their continuous professional development so that they will realize their full potentials and enable them to provide excellent customer service to their clients. She said their premium income has grown by 35% over the last 5 years, compared to the market's premium growth of 32% for the same period. Mrs. Fofana thanked customers for the continued patronage and promised them that the company will continue to render services that exceed their expectations. The audited financial report was presented to the audit firm BDO.
Now, Chief Executive Officer and founder of We Give All Charity, Madam Zainab Jallow, has said that the hepatitis disease is a silent killer that needs urgent attention in the country. Over 300 million people worldwide are unaware that they have viral hepatitis, according to World Health Organization's reports. She made these statements at a session held at Congo Cross and a session also held at the Congress Hall, Quartey Road here in Freetown, where Joseph Aureol was there, and he now reports.
Hepatitis is an inflammation of the liver commonly caused by viral infection. Hepatitis B and C are chronic infections that often do not show symptoms. Decades can pass with no symptoms in some cases. This late detection causes cancer. Hepatitis B and C also affect the most vulnerable people, with children and marginalized populations such as intravenous drug users and prisoners. It is also reported that over 300 million people worldwide are unaware they have viral hepatitis. According to a specialist at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Suleiman Lako, the disease attacks the liver, which is a very paramount organ in the body. He highlighted that the virus can be contracted through unsafe sex, contaminated blood fluid, from pregnant mother to a baby, and many more, which can result to liver cancer. Dr. Lako, however, noted that the disease can be treated through administering vaccine 3 doses in 6 months to affected persons. He refutes rumors that the disease can be transmitted through sweat, saliva, urine, vomit, and tears. Zainab Jallo, CEO and founder of We Give All charity, said her father lost her life to the disease because he was never aware that he had it. She noted they have discovered that the level of awareness of the disease in the country is very low. She called on the public to go for tests at government hospitals to know their status.
This is news out the SLBC in Freetown. The Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Memunatu Pratt, has called on stakeholders within the Western Peninsula coastline to ensure security and upkeep of the beach environment. She was speaking during the launching ceremony of the Environmental, Sanitation and Security Committee at the Ministry's Conference Hall, King Hammer Road here in Freetown. The formation of the Environmental, Sanitation and Security Committee is to help in waste management and the security of beach users. Doreen Barry was there, and she now reports.
Sierra Leone is blessed with beautiful beaches, exotic ambience, green scenery, and white and gold sand. A beautiful and crime-free beach is key to attracting more tourists and investments. The introduction of the committee is coming at a time when the Ministry of Tourism and Culture is looking for strategies to ensure sanitation and security within the beach environment. The Committee on Environmental Sanitation and Security comprised stakeholders from the various beach environments within the Western Peninsula coastal line. The Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Memunatu Pratt, said the introduction of the committee will brand the tourism sector. She said the involvement of stakeholders to provide security and ensure the cleaning of the beaches will help to beautify and attract more tourists into the country. She spoke about plans to adopt a booth project along the beaches that would be given to traders to do their businesses. She said that the booth project will ensure uniformity of kiosks that would add value to the tourism sector. Chairman of the Parliamentary Oversight Committee on Tourism and Culture, Honorable Tom Tucker, spoke about the importance of an environmental, sanitation and security committee, which he described as a step to upkeep the beaches. He appealed to the stakeholders to cooperate in order to actualize the visions of the ministry. The liaison officer, Ministry of Tourism and the Aberdeen community, Prophetess Deborah Numa, said the Aberdeen beach is faced with incidents of crime and pollution of the beach. She assured them of the committee's commitment towards advancement of the tourism sector.
Well, now Rokel Commercial Bank has introduced a new product called SIM Couple, which makes sending and receiving money easier. The product was launched by the Deputy Minister of Finance, Dr. Priscilla Lavalley, at the bank's Congo Cross branch here in Freetown. Cynthia Camara was there, and she now reports.
Aureol Commercial Bank has made sending and receiving money easier through their latest product, SIM Copper. The product was launched to cater for Aureol Bank customers in the country without using normal procedures, as it saves time to transact bills, salaries and purchases can be made through this product. Presenting the product, Kizaya Salankule said the introduction of the product will lead to the avoidance of long queues as a waste of time, and as well cater for people who want to be in the banking system without requirements and its secure one-time password that even though the phone is missing, it cannot be used by anyone.
The product also caters for people that want to be in the banking system but do not have the complete requirements. In terms of security, the product generates a one-time password that customers can use to execute transactions. Also, if e-checks are issued, a 16-digit code will be sent to the recipient, and for the transaction to be complete, the sender will create a password for the transaction, which he will have to give the receiver for confirmation upon request for encashment. Should the customer lose their phone, no one will access their account because their password will not be accessible.
Managing Director, Aureol Commercial Bank, Dr. Walton Ekundayo Gilpin, spoke on the financial status in the country as the desire to improve effectiveness in financial transactions through mobile phones so that local traders could do business through SIM Copper without going to the bank.
We believe that there is a need for the ladies selling fish to be able to transact a financial business away from the bed, away from digging a hole and being included in the financial architecture.
Launching the product, Deputy Minister of Finance, Dr. Priscilla Lavalley, appreciated the management of the Aureol Commercial Bank for what she called a brilliant initiative, and that government is particularly happy for such developments in a quest to improve banking in the country.
So the Ministry of Finance will, in collaboration with other key stakeholders, create the enabling environment for Sierra Leoneans doing business to become self-reliant and economically empowered, because we do recognize that financial inclusion, that governor, financial inclusion serves as a critical pathway for uplifting our underserved and our disenfranchised people out of poverty.
She added that Aureol Commercial Bank has served as a catalyst in improving the country's economy and that financial inclusion will be a power drive for microeconomic growth.
You're watching news on the SLBC in Freetown. Well, it's time for entertainment news. And from the entertainment desk, Lake Production on Saturday launched the BCS National Entertainment Awards at the Queen's nightclub, and a young talented musician, Pete Weezy, released a new music video. For more on this, let's join our entertainment producer, Mohammed Kingamilan Bangura.
Saturday, the 28th July, was a big day for stakeholders in the entertainment industry in Sierra Leone as they witnessed the launching and fundraising ceremony at the Queen's nightclub organized by the Lake Production. In his opening statements, the Master of Ceremony, Pastor Pete Dalton, reminded entertainment gurus at the ceremony that talents are born and some are nurtured, and stressed that there should be no blame game for the downfall of the entertainment industry in the country. He said inasmuch as there are true talented artists, so are some wannabes in the industry that just came in to achieve fame rather than take the entertainment industry as a business. In his speech, the CEO of Lake Production, Alhaji K. Tarawali, popularly known as Laj K, assured the public of a better and international style of this year's NIA Awards. Laj K also introduced the categories for this year's NIA Awards, varied from music, sports, movies, comedy, and humanitarian categories. The guest speaker, Mrs. Memunatu Prat, the Minister of Tourism and Culture, said that her ministry is solely responsible for the entertainment in the country and pledged government support in promoting the entertainment industry. Last year's National Entertainment Awards DVDs were released on the market for the public to buy, and pledges for the DVDs were also made by the Minister of Tourism and Culture, the Minister of Youths, the All Stars President, Sidi Yaya Tunis, former Minister of Tourism and Culture, and some members of the general public. Side attraction from one of Sierra Leone's youngest talented singer, 6-year-old Leonius the Genius, whose performance was above his age, and he performed the cover song Waiting by the late Amara Kaba. His version preached on peace and unity between the stakeholders in the entertainment industry. Other performer at the ceremony was a young upcoming singer, Pete Wizzy, whose real name is Philip Valcastle. Pete grew up in a musical home where he met all types of musical instruments, and this forced him to play the keyboard and guitar. Pete started his nursery in Freetown Teachers College and the Joaquin Primary School at Kingstown. He did his secondary schooling at the Albert Academy, where he sat to his WASC exams. Presently, he is a student at the Jala University College reading social work. Pete released his first single, Feel For You. Pete said that he wanted to make a mark in the field of entertainment in Sierra Leone, and he frowned on the ideology that entertainers are dropouts. Pete Wizzy has decided to release another new music video called Hustle, a song he said meant a lot to him.
Tell me why you the past last need to the cry. Now the system they make with the cry. Every day with the same old lies.
On the release of his first album, he said his management will come out with a notice on that. Pete said the public should expect great songs from him, featuring artists like Star Z and Camouflage. He said he wished that the government would provide an auditorium for local stars to perform, and he also wished that all clubs in the country should play 90% of Sierra Leonean songs.
You're watching news on the SLBC in Freetown. Well, from the entertainment desk, we move over to sport, and Maria Masuma is all set.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Updates on Newshour. I am Maria Masuma. The chairman of the football stakeholders, Idrissa Magaul Tarawali, has said they have dissolved with immediate effect the Aisha Yohansin-led executive in their resolution presented to the Ministry of Sport at Bishop House in Freetown. This came following a just concluded football stakeholders SLFA Extraordinary Congress in Bo, where a vote of no confidence was passed on the said executive. Estonari Samura has more on this.
Some football stakeholders and fans converged in front of the Ministry of Sport, protesting that Aisha Yohansin be removed as president of the Sierra Leone Football Association. They cited the elapse of her term in office a year ago. That was after an SLFA Extraordinary Congress was held by some members of the association in Bo and came out with 8 resolutions. Chairman of the football stakeholders, Idrissa Magaul Tarawali, spoke more.
That the membership and delegates will not recognize the 5 elected officers of the Madam Aisha Johansson-led illegal and inefficient executive whose mandate has expired since the 3rd of August 2017. Hence, it stands dissolved with immediate effect by a vote of no confidence. A motion was moved and seconded accordingly. See attached minute for details. We'll give you details of these deliberations, what led to this particular resolution. 2, that all properties of the Ceylon Football Association be handed over to the Directorate of Sports at the Ministry of Sport on or before Friday, the 2nd August 2018. That is deliberate. She will be plus 1 year on Saturday the 3rd, and we cannot continue with that. Failing which, the membership stroke delegate will have no alternative but to assert our authority and take possession of our properties.
He maintained that they also agreed, among other things, that the staff of SLFA should cease to take instructions from the outgoing Aisha-led executive and Christopher Camara henceforth. That all banks be notified not to do business with the outgoing executive of Aisha Johansson. That the Directorate of Sports through the Ministry of Sports facilitate the process for a peaceful, transparent and credible elective congress to be held within 90 days and take necessary steps to steer a smooth transition period to fill the vacuum before the elective congress. Receiving the resolutions on behalf of the ministry, Ibrahim Bangura, Director of Sport, called on all to be calm and assured them that after deliberating on the said resolutions, they will come out with a positive response.
I want to assure you that we'll sit as a ministry and as a council, we'll deliberate on this resolution, and pretty soon, within the next 48 hours, we'll communicate our decision. On behalf of the Directorate of the Ministry and the National Sports Council, I want you to exercise patience, calm, and to know that a decision, a positive one, for the game to play will be made.
The head of media of the Ceylon Football Association, Ibrahim Kamara, also noted that they will continue to work in line with the dictates of FIFA. Esther Maisama, SLBC TV.
And now for some international sports gossip. Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho's mood during the club's tours of the USA is exhausting his players and unsettling staff. Real Madrid have no interest in Chelsea's Brazil midfielder Willian, 29, but do want the Blues' Belgium goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois. Willian says he is very happy at Chelsea and enjoys living in London. Global Esports. Leicester boss Claude Puel has reiterated his belief 25-year-old England defender Harry Maguire, linked with Manchester United, will stay with the Foxes for the new season. And Everton wants 28-year-old Manchester United and Argentina defender Marcos Rojo, who has been told he can leave for €30 million. Chelsea boss Mauricio Sarri has made Bayern Munich and Poland striker Robert Lewandowski, 29, his main transfer target. And finally, Liverpool are confident Senegal forward Sadio Mane, 26, will sign a new long-term contract in the coming weeks. That's it for Sports Updates on Newshour this evening. I am Maria Masuma. Thanks for watching. And over to you, Ma'awa Aliyu, for the rest of the bulletin.
Well, many thanks then to Maria Masuma for the latest in sport. And now to end the news, a quick reminder of the top stories. Consultant neologist Professor Radcliffe Lakes has said that over 60,000 people are living with epilepsy in the country. Director General National HIV/AIDS Secretariat, Dr. Momodu Sise, has revealed that 1.5% of the country's population is HIV positive and not 1.5 million as being circulated on the social media. And 29 anesthetic nurses have completed an 18-month diploma course in anesthesia. That's all in this edition of the news. On behalf of the rest of the production team, my name is Mahawa Aliyu. For more about our programs, do send us your comment to slbc.sl. Thanks for watching the news and good night.